question, Donna, was that, and if I get this right, that we're recommending rejection of the UI funds. Then how do we deal with the problem of coming up with the funds to pay for the unemployment benefits that we have to pay out right now?
A very good question. And the state unemployment insurance benefits have always been, traditionally been funded by unemployment insurance payroll taxes. And you all can do your own math as to how much of the federal dollars are going to have to be used just to pay for the expansion of those benefits. So it may or may not be an immediate benefit. But even if so, the best solution to unemployment is to create jobs, not to take them away from the economy. So if in the long run you're looking to create jobs and getting people off of the unemployment rolls, then the most important thing to do is incentivize private investment rather than government spending.
Donna, let me offer you a question. The congressional delegation here is working on something that came up that Warren County, where we're at right now, the commissioners voted to reject certain stimulus spending. You also saw this down in South Carolina. In Ohio, Lucas County commissioner got on and said that he wanted to take the money, and I think it was the North Carolina governor, when the South Carolina governor said he was going to reject large parts of the money, he'll drive down to the border and pick it up. I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you have any thoughts about what they're doing? And the congressional delegation is trying to ensure that those monies are being recaptured, not for more spending elsewhere, but to address perhaps the federal deficit or other things like that.
Not sure if I caught that, David. But you're saying if the states reject the money, if it could actually not be spent by the federal government and be used to reduce the sizable deficit that's being created?
Yeah, that's what I think is being talked about.
Well, that would have a positive impact because unless they allow that, unless they allow states to use the funds to pay down debt or to reduce taxes, then states are in a very tough position because the government expenditure wedge, as I described it, would go up no matter what state lawmakers did. Now, if they would use the money, or not use the money, and not spend it if the states rejected it, then that government expenditure wedge for the whole country would not grow as much as we're suggesting here, and that would be a net positive benefit for everybody.
My question is more in the long term, and here's my fear. I understand that the children born today are being handled $120,000 to $150,000 tax burden just for the interest on the stimulus package. When I look at that, I say, okay, you get married, now you got $250,000 or $300,000 in debt. What does this mean? It means you don't get to buy a house. It means you don't get to start your business. It means you don't get to help your children go to college. It means you don't buy several cars, maybe that would stimulate the economy. It means you don't get to go on vacation. I think the long term is the worst term. You want to comment?
You're right. And as I mentioned, the things that you're hearing out of Washington are potential immediate impacts from spending without taking into account where that money is coming from. And as we said, and as you've said, if it's borrowed, which it is going to be, then we're talking about huge tax increases, huge tax burdens on the next generation. And you're absolutely right. That government expenditure wedge will continue to grow, even beyond the levels that the stimulus package is going to push it to, today. And the economy is going to be significantly worse for years and years to come as a result. You mentioned the borrowing levels, and you probably have all heard this, but up until recently, federal government's debt was, about 50% of GDP, which is high enough. We've been talking to, the government's been talking to bank lenders about the fact that they sort of broke their own old rule, which is you don't let anybody mortgage or, borrow more than 28 or 30% of their annual income. Well, the federal government was about 50% until the stimulus packages and the bailout packages started to kick in, and now we're fast approaching 100% or more. So that just, backs up what you were just saying about the fact that those borrowing levels cannot be sustained and they're going to be borne by the next generation.
Pay the unemployment insurance, then what is your solution? Now, we can argue about strategy and we can argue about your formula. You definitely come to the table with a particular viewpoint.
Viewpoint of freedom, yeah.
Yes, viewpoint.
Freedom.
Some people call it a bias. My question is...
I don't. I call it
Right.
America.
Correct,
Okay.
right. But it is a viewpoint, it's a perspective, and you have a formula that you crunch these numbers out. My question is, with regards to the problems, I hear you talking about stimulating the economy by incentivizing private investment. Okay. I think that's partly what this investment program is about, but if you don't have people that have money that can spend it, you can incentivize all you want. My question is, what is your solution? I don't really hear any solutions yet. I hear results, but tell me what your solution is.
Well, the Buckeye Institute has a complete turnaround package for Ohio that means getting rid of the state income tax. We can join states like Florida, Texas, Washington State, Tennessee, and others and not have an income tax and still provide for all the services and activities that we provide for right now if state leaders could show the discipline and only grow state spending by 2.2% per year. We also have a recommendation to make Ohio a right-to-work state, and freedom in the workplace is what will attract a lot of investment and job creation. It's shown in where the jobs are going today in America, and they're not here in Ohio or Michigan. They're going to places like Oklahoma, Texas, and others like that. We would also recommend a universal K-12 voucher, that is to liberate our kids from the tyranny of government monopoly schools. So we have a lot of proposals on how to really turn around Ohio. We're looking at the impact of this specific report because we see all kinds of forces. Like I said, there's a feeding frenzy. For us here talking about limiting government, there's a vendor that is drooling over the thought of the kind of money that they're going to be able to get channeled into their pockets, the rent seekers as they're called in the economics world. And the more that government grows, the more that particular kinds of businesses, and I'm not necessarily naming anybody in this room, but the more that certain businesses that are adept at hiring lobbyists, that are adept at playing the political game, will find themselves winning, and that will come at the expense of free enterprise and those businesses that are able to succeed not through lobbying, but through working hard and trying to deliver better products and services. So we provide plenty of other alternative proposals in our other work, but because of the stimulus package and the forces that are aligned behind it, whether it's the political forces that are voted for it or whether it's the natural tendency as government grows for more special interests to try to be at the government trough, that's why we want to be able to push back on all the, as I call it, the feeding frenzy that's being created in support of the stimulus bill, because they are going to get a very specific check out of all of our pockets and out of the future pockets of our future kids in order to get this so-called stimulus funds that they're getting. You can't say it's generic when I can give you a 10-year plan on specifically how you can eliminate the income tax. Okay.
So that is your approach regardless of this particular situation.
No, not really. I mean, the question before was, how do you grow? How do you deal with the unemployment here in Ohio and taking care of the unemployment fund, which is depleted? Well, the reason the unemployment fund is depleted in Ohio is because we added no jobs and we sustained very high unemployment here in Ohio between the 2001 recession and the 2007-8 recession, or excuse me, December 2007 recession when it began. And when we don't grow jobs compared to the rest of the country, in fact, during that period, we fell 350,000 jobs behind the rest of the country. And that's not theoretical. That was if we had only enjoyed average job growth, not even top half job growth, not even the top quarter job growth, but just average job growth in this state, and it was being carried out in other states, we would have 350,000 more jobs and we would have no particular problem with our unemployment fund today. I think it did. It says that sooner or later we're just going to have to say no to more taxes and try to grow our economy through the free market enterprise and not through government redistribution.